Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. I'm Tony, your host, and today I am super excited to have my wonderful co-host, Jenny, with me.
Hi, Tony, and hello to all our listeners. It's great to be here, as always. I'm really looking forward to today's topic. It's something I think about a lot.
Me too, Jenny. Today we're diving into a fascinating and, dare I say, sometimes challenging topic: how to make people agree with you. Now, before anyone thinks we're talking about forcing people, no, that's not it at all. We're talking about respectful communication, understanding, and finding common ground so that people want to agree with you, or at least understand your point of view better.
Exactly. It's not about being right all the time or winning an argument. It's more about building bridges, isn't it? Like, in a team meeting, or even at home with family. Sometimes you really need everyone to be on the same page, to move forward together.
That's a perfect way to put it, Jenny. Building bridges. So let's jump right into our first main point, which I think is probably the most important one. It's about understanding versus arguing. We often think that to make someone agree, we need to talk more, explain more, maybe even talk louder. But actually, it's often the opposite. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest mistake people make is that they go into a conversation ready to win. They're thinking about what they want to say next, instead of truly listening. It's like, imagine you're trying to fix something with a friend, and they keep telling you what to do, but they haven't even heard what the problem is from your side.
That's a great example. It's like you want to show someone a picture of your cat, but they keep talking about their dog. You're both talking, but you're not connecting. So our first tip here is listen first, speak second. Really try to understand the other person's perspective, their feelings, their reasons. This is called active listening.
Yes, active listening. It means you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're actually paying attention, asking questions to understand more, and maybe even repeating what they said to make sure you got it right. Like, so if I understand correctly, you're worried about X because of Y, right? This shows you care, and it makes them feel heard.
And when people feel heard, Jenny, they're much more open to hearing your side. It builds trust. I remember once, I was trying to convince my sister that we should paint our living room blue. She was totally against it. She wanted green. I started listing all the reasons blue was good, but she just kept saying, no, green is better. I wasn't listening to why she wanted green.
The classic family debate. So what happened?
Well, I finally stopped and asked her, why do you really like green so much for this room? And she explained that our grandmother had a green living room, and it made her feel calm and happy. Wow, I had no idea it was such a personal reason. It wasn't just about the color itself. It was about memory and comfort.
Oh, that's beautiful. And a perfect example. Once you understood her emotional connection, your approach probably changed, right?
Exactly. I understood her feeling. I still wanted blue, but I could respect her reason for green. We ended up compromising, finding a color that was kind of a blue-green, like a teal. It worked for both of us, because I listened first. So, understanding before trying to be understood, that's point number one.
That's so true. And this leads us perfectly to our second main point, finding common ground. Once you've listened and understood their perspective, the next step is to look for what you do agree on. Even if you disagree on the main point, there are usually smaller things you can agree on.
Yes. It's like finding a small bridge when there's a big river between you. You can't cross the big river directly, but maybe you can walk to a narrower part, or find a little island in the middle where you can both stand. It's about shared goals or values. For example, in your painting story, Tony, you both wanted a comfortable, happy living room, right?
Precisely. So you can start by saying, okay, we both want this room to feel comfortable and welcoming, right? Or, we both want this project to finish on time and be successful. When you highlight what you share, it makes the disagreement seem smaller.
I remember a time at work, we had a big project, and my team couldn't agree on the best way to present our results to the boss. Half the team wanted a long, detailed report, and the other half wanted a short, visual presentation. It was a big disagreement.
Oh, that sounds difficult. How did you find common ground there?
Well, instead of arguing about report versus presentation, I asked, what is our main goal when we talk to the boss? What do we want him to understand or do? And everyone agreed, we want him to approve our next steps and understand the good work we've done. So the common ground was clear communication leading to approval. We all wanted the same outcome.
So you shifted the focus from how to why. And then how did you solve the report versus presentation problem?
Because we agreed on the why, we could then discuss the how differently. We realized the boss liked quick, visual summaries, but also sometimes asked for details later. So we decided on a short, engaging presentation with a detailed report ready as a backup if he asked for more. We found common ground on the purpose first. It was a big aha moment for the team.
That's brilliant, Tony. It's like, even if you want different paths, if you know you're going to the same destination, you can find a way to walk together. And this brings us to our third point, which is really important for expressing your ideas without making others feel attacked. Using I statements.
Oh, I statements. This is a powerful one. Instead of saying, "You always forget to lock the door," which sounds like an accusation and makes someone defensive, you say, "What, Jenny?"
You say, "I feel worried when the door isn't locked because I think about safety." See the difference? You're talking about your feeling, your experience, not blaming the other person. It's, "I feel X when Y happens because Z." It's about your feelings and needs, not their fault.
That's such a good example. It immediately changes the tone of the conversation. Instead of a fight, it becomes a problem to solve together. I remember once I was trying to get my roommate to help more with cleaning. I kept saying, "You never clean the kitchen. It's always a mess because of you."
Ouch! I can imagine how that went down. Probably not well, huh?
No, not well at all. He'd get angry and say, "I do clean. You just don't see it." We'd argue and nothing would change. Then, I tried a different approach. I said, "Hey, I feel really stressed when the kitchen is messy because I like to cook in a clean space. Would it be possible for us to maybe make a small cleaning schedule together?"
Wow, that sounds like a much more productive conversation. How did he react to that?
He actually paused. He looked surprised, like he hadn't heard that kind of language from me before. And he said, "Oh, I didn't realize it made you feel stressed. Yeah, sure, let's make a schedule." And it worked. We made a simple schedule, and the kitchen became much cleaner. It wasn't perfect every day, but it was a huge improvement because I focused on my feelings and needs, not his actions.
That's amazing. It really shows how powerful I statements can be. It moves the conversation from accusation to cooperation. And it's so helpful for avoiding arguments and building better relationships, isn't it? It's like you're inviting them to help you instead of telling them they're wrong.
Absolutely. It's a game changer. Okay, let's move on to our fourth point, which is about making your ideas more memorable and relatable. The power of storytelling and examples. People often respond better to a good story or a real-life example than just facts or numbers.
Oh, I totally agree with this one. It's like our brains are wired for stories. Think about it, Tony. When you're listening to someone and they say, "Let me give you an example," or "This reminds me of a time when," suddenly you're more interested, right? It makes the idea real.
Definitely. It helps people connect emotionally with your idea. Instead of just saying, "This new process will make us more efficient," you could say, "Remember last month when we spent hours looking for that document? Well, with this new system, it would have taken us 5 minutes, just like when Company X implemented a similar solution and saved 20% of their time." That's a story, a picture.
Yes, that's so much more convincing. It's not just an idea, it's a solution to a problem they know. I used this recently when trying to convince my friends to try a new restaurant. They all wanted to go to our usual place, a pizza place, and I wanted to try this new Korean barbecue place.
Classic group decision scenario. How did you persuade them, Jenny?
Well, instead of just saying, "Oh, Korean barbecue is good," which isn't very strong, I said, "Remember that time we watched that K-drama and they were eating all that delicious barbecue? This place is just like that. And I heard they have amazing side dishes, and you can grill the meat yourself at the table. It's a fun experience, like a mini adventure." I painted a picture.
You used their existing interest in K-dramas to connect to your idea. Very clever. Did it work?
It totally worked. They were like, "Oh, really? Like in the drama? Okay, let's try it." And they loved it. So telling a story or giving a relatable example can make your point not just clear, but also exciting and appealing.
That's fantastic. People remember stories much better than abstract ideas. Okay, on to our fifth and final main point, which is probably the hardest sometimes. Patience and respect. Sometimes, even if you do everything right, people still won't agree with you. And that's okay. It's about building long-term relationships, not just winning one moment.
This is so crucial, Tony. Not everyone is going to agree with you, and that's just a fact of life. People have different backgrounds, different experiences, different values. Trying to force agreement can actually break relationships.
Right. It's about respecting their right to their own opinion. You can present your point, listen to theirs, find common ground, use I statements, and tell a great story, and still they might say, I see what you mean, but I still think X. And in that moment, it's important to say, okay, I understand. We can agree to disagree on this for now.
Exactly. Sometimes people need time to think about what you've said. You plant a seed, and it might grow later. Or sometimes it simply means you both have different priorities, and that's okay. For example, my brother and I often disagree on politics.
Oh, that's a common one. How do you handle that respectfully?
Well, in the past, we'd argue a lot, and it would get heated. Now we've learned to say, okay, I hear your point, and I respect your opinion, even if I don't share it. We focus on all the other things we do agree on and love to talk about. Family, movies, food. We don't let one area of disagreement ruin our whole relationship. It takes patience and a lot of respect.
That's so mature, Jenny, and it's a valuable lesson. It's about valuing the relationship more than the argument. And sometimes you might even learn something new from their different perspective, right? Even if you don't fully agree, understanding it can broaden your own view.
Totally. Sometimes they make a point that you hadn't considered. It doesn't mean you change your mind, but it adds to your understanding. So remember, patience, respect, and knowing when to let go are key for long-term influence in healthy relationships.
Fantastic insights, Jenny. We've covered a lot today. To recap, these are not tricks, but tools for better communication and stronger connections. So let's quickly go over our key takeaways from today's discussion.
Our first key takeaway is, listen first, speak second. Try to truly understand the other person's perspective before sharing your own. Use active listening to show you care and are paying attention.
Second, remember to find common ground. Don't focus on differences. Look for shared goals, values, or even small areas of agreement. This builds a bridge for understanding.
And finally, our third takeaway is, be patient and respectful, even if you don't agree. Some people need time, and some may never agree. Value the relationship over winning an argument, and learn to, quote, agree to disagree gracefully.
Excellent points, Jenny. These are all things we can practice every day, whether it's with our friends, family, or colleagues. It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Absolutely. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You'll find yourself having more productive, positive conversations.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing your wonderful insights and examples today. This has been a truly engaging conversation.
My pleasure, Tony. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident in expressing your ideas and building better connections. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with your friends who are also learning English, and leave us a review. Your support helps us create more great content for you.
Yes, please do. And remember, practice these tips in your daily conversations. You'll be surprised how much difference they can make. Until next time, keep practicing your English and keep building those bridges.
Bye for now.
Bye.